Single dad hired a nanny for his blind date, then realized she was the woman he came to meet. The blind date mix-up. Marcus checked his watch for the third time in 5 minutes. 7:15 p.m. His date was fashionably late, or perhaps she'd gotten cold feet. He couldn't blame her. Dating as a single father wasn't exactly easy, and he'd been upfront about his 4-year-old daughter Sophie in his profile. The cafe's outdoor patio was perfect for a spring evening, with string lights casting a warm glow over the scattered tables. Marcus had specifically chosen this spot because it was casual enough to leave quickly if things went south, yet nice enough to make a good impression. "Daddy, I'm bored," Sophie announced, swinging her legs under the table. Her red pigtails bounced with each movement. "I know, sweetheart. Just a little longer, okay? Why don't you color?" Marcus slid the coloring book across the table, his stomach knotting with guilt. Bringing Sophie on a first date wasn't ideal, but his regular babysitter had canceled at the last minute. And his match, Jennifer, had seemed understanding when he'd explained the situation over text. At least he hoped she was understanding. "Mr. Patterson?" Marcus looked up to find a young woman with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, wearing jeans and a burgundy sweater. She had a kind smile and warm brown eyes that crinkled at the corners. "That's me," he said, standing awkwardly. "Jennifer?" She laughed, a musical sound that made Sophie look up from her coloring. "No, I'm Emma. I'm your babysitter for the evening." Marcus felt his face flush. "I'm sorry, there must be some confusion. I didn't—" "Your date arranged it," Emma explained, pulling out a chair. "Jennifer messaged me through the Child Care Connect app about 2 hours ago. She said she didn't want your daughter to sit through an awkward first date, so she booked me to take Sophie to the park down the street for an hour or two." Marcus's mouth fell open. A woman he'd never met had hired a babysitter for his daughter? It was either incredibly thoughtful or completely presumptuous. He couldn't decide which. "I have my credentials here," Emma continued, pulling out her phone. "Background check, CPR certification, references—" No, I'm sure you're legitimate," Marcus said, running a hand through his hair. "It's just unexpected." "I like her," Sophie declared, already won over. She'd always had good instincts about people. Emma grinned at Sophie. "And I like you. I brought bubbles and sidewalk chalk. What do you think? Should we give your dad some space for his date?" Sophie nodded enthusiastically, but Marcus held up a hand. "I appreciate the gesture, really, but I can't just hand my daughter over to a stranger, no matter how well-intentioned." "Of course not," Emma said quickly, her expression turning serious. "I completely understand. How about this? We stay here at the cafe, just at a different table. You can keep an eye on us, and if you're comfortable after a while, we could walk to the park. It's only 50 yards away, completely visible from here." It was reasonable, more than reasonable, and the thoughtfulness behind Jennifer's gesture was starting to sink in. She'd recognized that a first date with a preschooler present wasn't romantic, but instead of canceling or complaining, she'd found a solution. "Okay," Marcus agreed. "But Sophie, you stay where I can see you, understand?" "Yes, Daddy." Sophie was already climbing down from her chair, reaching for Emma's hand. As they settled at a nearby table, Marcus checked his phone. A new message from Jennifer, running 10 minutes late. "Hope you don't mind that I hired Emma. Thought we might want some adult conversation. If you're not comfortable, totally understand and she won't be offended." Marcus typed back, very thoughtful. "Thank you. See you soon." He watched Emma blow bubbles while Sophie jumped to pop them, their laughter carrying across the patio. His daughter's joy was infectious, and Marcus felt some of his first date anxiety melting away. Another 10 minutes passed, then 20. Emma and Sophie had moved on to coloring together, their heads bent over the book in concentration. Emma was pointing at something on the page, and Sophie was giggling, her whole face lit up with happiness. Marcus's phone buzzed. "I'm so sorry, but I can't make it. Family emergency. Please don't let this reflect on Emma. She's wonderful. Can we reschedule?" He sighed, disappointment settling in his chest. "Hope everything's okay." "Sure, we can reschedule." But even as he typed it, Marcus knew they probably wouldn't. The spark of possibility had fizzled before it even ignited. "Everything all right?" Marcus looked up to find Emma standing beside his table, Sophie on her hip. "Your date's not coming? How did you have that look?" I've been stood up a few times myself. She set Sophie down, and his daughter immediately climbed into his lap. I'm really sorry. For what it's worth, anyone who books a babysitter for a first date seems pretty considerate. Maybe the emergency is real. Maybe, Marcus agreed. He pulled out his wallet. Let me pay you for your time. Already taken care of, Emma said. Jennifer prepaid for 2 hours. An awkward silence fell. Sophie tugged on Marcus's shirt. Daddy, can Emma have dinner with us? Please, she's so fun. Marcus opened his mouth to politely decline, but Emma beat him to it. Oh, sweetie, your dad probably wants to. Actually, Marcus interrupted, surprising himself. That would be nice. If you're free, I mean, you're already paid for 2 hours and I've got this table reservation. Emma hesitated, clearly torn. I don't want to intrude on your evening. You're not intruding, you're saving it. Marcus smiled. Besides, Sophie's right, you do seem fun, and I could use the company. Something shifted in Emma's expression, surprise giving way to a warm smile. Okay, but only if I can pay for my own meal. This wasn't exactly a date. Deal. They moved to a larger table, and what followed was the most relaxed, genuine conversation Marcus had experienced in years. Emma was a graduate student studying early childhood development, working as a nanny to pay her tuition. She had 2 younger brothers, loved hiking, and made Sophie laugh so hard that milk came out of her nose. So you actually climbed Mount Rainier? Marcus asked, amazed. Twice, Emma confirmed. Once wasn't enough to prove to my brothers that I could do it. She wiped Sophie's face with a napkin, the gesture so natural and caring that it made Marcus's heart squeeze. Emma, do you have a boyfriend? Sophie asked suddenly, with the blunt curiosity only children possess. Sophie! Marcus felt his face burn, but Emma just laughed. It's okay, and no, I don't. I'm too busy with school and work to date much. My daddy doesn't have a girlfriend either, Sophie announced. He says he's too busy too, but I think he's just scared. Out of the mouths of babes, Emma murmured, her eyes twinkling. Marcus should have been embarrassed, but instead he found himself laughing. She's not wrong. As the evening wore on, Marcus realized something startling. He didn't want it to end. Emma was easy to talk to, wonderful with Sophie, and absolutely lovely when she smiled. When had the last 2 hours passed? We should probably get going, Emma said reluctantly, checking her phone. It's past someone's bedtime. Sophie yawned as if on cue, then protested, I'm not tired. Outside the cafe, Marcus helped Sophie into her jacket while Emma gathered their coloring books. The spring air had turned cool, and the string lights seemed even more magical in the deepening twilight. Thank you, Marcus said, for everything. This turned out to be a really great evening. It did, didn't it? Emma's smile was soft. I'm glad Jennifer's emergency led to this. Is that terrible to say? A little, Marcus admitted. But I'm glad too. They stood there, the moment stretching between them, full of possibility. Emma? Marcus took a breath, his heart pounding. Would you want to do this again? Intentionally, I mean. Like an actual date, without someone paying you to be here. Sophie perked up immediately. Yes. Say yes, Emma. Emma bit her lip, clearly considering. Then she grinned. I'd like that. But fair warning, I'm a terrible cook. I snore, and I have strong opinions about children's television programming. I make a mean spaghetti, I probably snore too, and I could use someone with strong opinions about kids' TV. Sophie's current favorite show makes me want to tear my hair out. It's a date then. Emma pulled out her phone. Give me your real number this time, not the Child Care Connect one. As they exchanged numbers, Sophie wrapped her arms around Emma's legs. I love you, Emma. Emma's eyes went misty. She knelt down, hugging Sophie back. I love you too, sweetie. Marcus watched them, something warm and hopeful blooming in his chest. Maybe getting stood up was the best thing that could have happened tonight. Hey, Marcus, Emma said as they prepared to part ways. You should probably message Jennifer and thank her. In a weird way, she gave you exactly what you were looking for. Marcus pulled out his phone and typed, Thank you. Tonight didn't go as planned, but it went perfectly. 3 weeks later, Marcus and Emma sat at the same cafe table while Sophie played in the park with Marcus's mother, who had insisted on babysitting for their official first date. I still can't believe you were originally supposed to meet someone else here, Emma said, reaching across the table to take his hand. Best mix-up of my life, Marcus replied, and when he kissed her under the string lights, with Sophie watching from the park and cheering loudly enough to make other diners turn and smile, Marcus knew that sometimes the best love stories started with the wrong person leading you to the right one. The end.